At the moment, people will think AI is going to destroy humanity, and people will think that artificial intelligence is going to make us so much better. So responsible AI, to me, means that we are going to define the relationship between humanity and artificial intelligence and ensure that AI is going to benefit the world by harnessing artificial intelligence as much as we can. But to do so, we have to do it in a way that enhances the values that bring us people together, that enhances dignity, that enhances the way that we deal with the issues of tomorrow, that protects the environment. So to me, responsible AI really means that we, yes, harness the value of AI, but we do it in a way that really protects the world and really builds on the values that bring us together.
Now having said that, what about this in the Indian context? You're currently, framing that policy for Wipro, a company that is moving very, very quickly on upgrading its AI presence and exposure, as is the entire suite of companies here in India. I mean, India is really trying to rev up and sort of level up on the AI game. So in the Indian context, how do you see it? Because we're still in the process of finding a framework that works for us. Is this going to be something that a country determines, or is this going to have to be a global effort?
So artificial intelligence does not exist in isolation, right? So already existing legislation do apply to artificial intelligence. So for example, privacy law, privacy and data protection, they already apply to AI. So AI is not neutral in that sense. So it's really important to understand the legislation such as privacy, data protection, the cybersecurity requirements, as well as legislation like human rights and non-discrimination. All of these apply to artificial intelligence. And this is important because a lot of people are here, they keep invoking for new AI regulation. Now, why is this really important to regulate the behavior of people around and businesses around artificial intelligence? It's also very important to recognize that AI already exists in a world which is regulated. So, for example, India's recent privacy and data protection bill or applies to artificial intelligence systems when these systems use personally identifiable information. And this is really important because one of the crucial things and risks that we talk about when we talk about AI is really around privacy, is really around data protection. So it's important to understand, I think, that whilst we do need to understand whether existing legislation is fit for the age of AI, we also need to bear in mind that there are existing laws that already apply. There are so many conversations around AI governance at the moment. Just a few weeks ago, there has been a summit in South Korea where leaders from all over the world have gathered together to really look at what governance looks like, what it means to monitor the development of deep fakes, what it means to look at cyber threats, and what it means also to get together behind a set of principles that companies can get behind and countries can get behind. Now, artificial intelligence does not stop at borders. So the international dimensions is very, very important. And countries and different jurisdictions will also set the rules. The European Union, for example, has recently enacted the European AI Act, which is a risk-based legislation, and wraps controls around artificial intelligence systems based on the risk that they pose to health and safety, as well to fundamental rights. So there is a big discussion happening everywhere around the world around governance that is both global and has to happen within the AI strategy that have been developed within countries. Certainly, India is.
So let me take that forward. In the Indian context, there are a couple of sort of conversation points. Do you keep this light touch? Do you have stringent guardrails? Also, there is a unique perspective to look at, right? We are going to be or are already some of the largest data generators of the world because it's a large population. You also have the risks of inequalities increasing because of AI. Access, not being fair because of AI. Do you think all of those things also need to be kept in mind? Because we'll wait now for what the Indian version of AI policy looks like. Will these be key touchstones?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great question. And obviously, we will see with the political development in India, the sort of new political setup, how the debate will evolve. And I think it's correct. There are different ways of looking at things, but I don't think that every country will do it in the same way, in the sense that I think it's important to understand that there is a global conversation around artificial intelligence. For example, in South Korea and before in Bletchley Park, the India was there alongside many other countries. So there is a global conversation, and I think there is now an understanding that in order to harness the value of artificial intelligence, we need to look at exactly the issues that you mentioned. So, for example, the issue of fairness in artificial intelligence systems, not just in terms of access to the systems, and access to the digital realm, which obviously acts as an equalizer of opportunities, but also the inherent bias that can happen within the systems. Issues around cybersecurity. I think there is an alignment all around the world that there are a set of risks that need to be managed. Whether this happens through regulation, whether this happens through business self-regulation, or whether happens through standards, there are many different ways of doing this, but I do think that there is some alignment around the world on recognizes what the risks are. Certainly, India is in a unique position. It's a huge country that generates a lot of data, and also a country that makes and can make a huge opportunity in, for example, and a huge presence in the discussions at global level around AI for the common good, what it means to shape an ethical AI, and what it means to use and leverage artificial intelligence to solve some of the biggest issues that we have these days. So I think it will be interesting to see what happens next, but there is no one way of govern AI. There is no one way. The European AI Act, for example, is the first AI-specific legislation, and the jury's out there to see what is the best way to govern artificial intelligence moving forward.